Hello and welcome to Carb Addict, now Carnivore. And today I am just absolutely delighted to welcome Jen Edden to the show. Jen, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Lana. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I saw you on the Sugar Summit, and I just, had to have you on because this is a topic that we just can't get enough of. We need it. We need you. So thank you for taking time to come and share with us today. So give us a little background about yourself. Tell us what you're up to, and then go into how you got started. How did you find this topic in the first place?
Oh my goodness. All right. So this is like a 30-minute channel, but we've got like 7 hours. All right. I will be brief. So I'll be 50 this year. I've got three beautiful kids, and it's nice to admit I am no longer addicted to anything. And like many of us, right? It just almost comes on and you don't realize it. And then when you realize it, it's like, oh, I need to do something about it. And so this started for me as a kid where it's normalized, right? Like many of us, it's normalized. I'm a product of the 70s and the 80s, right? Where then they were taking fat out of stuff. So then you're just eating cookies. So my thing was cookies and ice cream. And, my mom didn't think anything of it. And then what we're finding is we're eating excessive amounts, but and I teach this now in my method, it's normalized. It's normalized. Oh, Jen, a row of cookies, or oh, where's the ice cream? We'll just get another half gallon. And when you're younger, it's also not necessarily a health thing at that point. So no one really notices. I know I didn't. But then fast forward that this habit is continuing, but now it's the adult sugar of Starbucks,
Yeah.
of scones with your coffee, and still having cereals and whatnot in the morning. And then the weight starts to do something. That's what a lot of women who come see us, it's a weight thing. And then it's, for me, it was anxiety. And then it was in my 20s, near ulcer, gastritis, right? Chronic sweating and nervousness. And we'll just say it, society writes it off again as a normalcy. And that was not the case for me. And so I went on a mission to figure out what is going on. I did not want to be on antidepressants or Pepsid, AC, this heartburn and this, anti-ulcer stuff. And I remember the pivotal point. The doctor said to me, because I said, what do you mean I have to be on this forever? He goes, don't worry. And he looked down and he took out of his white lab coat, I'm on it too. And he showed me what he was on. And I remember light bulb in that moment going, how quick can I get out of here? And Jen, you better figure this out. How quick can I get out of here? And Jen, you better figure this out. And so my journey is, I had been to medical school. I thought maybe that was the route. I did not love it, so I left in my first year. I wanted to be a pediatrician. It was really all about the drugs, I figured out. And so we left there. I am a biochemist. And so I went to school thinking that might be good just to understand the body. So I have that background that I've kept. And I went and figured it out. It took a long time, hiring lots of people, which I know a lot of people who are listening here, right? We go on this mission to figure it out, and tens of thousands of dollars later with homeopaths and naturopaths. And I never hired dietitians, really, thank God, with all due respect, because they follow these books. And I had considered OA and what is wrong with me, and maybe I should do Weight Watchers and all the diets. And I have gone on a healing journey for a very long time. And I got to the point where in my late 20s, I got certified as a holistic health coach, and I started to put the pieces together. And then I healed myself. And then I said, wow, this works. Who else can I help? And you know how it works over time, 20 years. This is my 20-year anniversary as a holistic health coach. I now specialize in sugar addiction for busy female professionals, 40s into late 60s. Our body does something and no one seems to understand. And so I am here now. I'm so grateful every day for the work I do. And so Yes. How is that? How's that for an intro? But that's my story.
Awesome.
And so I'm very grateful.
Yes. Wow. I'm so grateful for the work you're doing. You just correlated through my journey, which I've only been on this journey for 13 months. I didn't even know this was a thing, but I was having digestive issues, stomach pain, and all of that. And I have been through major surgeries in my life. And with my last major surgery, I made a promise to this body right here. And I said, we are not doing this again. I'm not being cut on again. And when I started having that stomach pain and all that, that was the same thing. I'm figuring this out. I am not having more surgery. And
God bless. God bless.
yes, God just led me to a person, a friend who had gone zero carb using the carnivore diet. And I tried it and it changed my entire life, entire view of everything in the world. So tell me a little bit about how you work with people. And you're talking about sugar freedom. So what does that look like?
I love that. So yeah, the Sugar Freedom Method, it's a 90-day mentorship. It's rolled into some other programs and things for people who just want to dabble. But what it is, first of all, I want to say this, and this is not for everyone, yes? It is not for me and the women who come see me about never touching it again. This whole, I've been free for, 28 days, 72 days. For me, the women that come see me, it's a lot of pressure. And they're already busy female professionals, a lot of moms who already have too much pressure. And so what I teach is how to not have it in your diet anywhere near where it was. You can remove it fully. Most women like it where I call it grouping it. So if you're at a wedding or it's a kid's birthday party or it's something important and you want to have something that you can have it, it just doesn't have its hooks on you for days, weeks, months, years, like a light switch for women who come see me, okay? I teach a 5-week how not to binge program. And so that's just like a piece of the method, but it's about the freedom to have it or not have it. And what happens with this addiction, unfortunately, it's an addiction is, right, once you have it, similar to drugs and alcohol for some, that's it. There's no tools, there's no strategies, and they're just in it until they honestly get disgusted enough that they're out. But that's only a small window, and it's never enough time for the body to heal. And so I teach you how to heal your body. Module 6 is a gut healing protocol. When your gut is healed, you have better control over sugar. That is my job. And whole education on food. So I also eat, I eat everything. I did do the vegetarian thing just for a bit. And I'm like, my body does not love this. And so for those on the carnivore diet, I love and respect you. I say, make sure it's high quality. It's grass-fed, okay, because chemicals matter. I teach that in module 2 of the method. And there is no one right diet for anyone. And so I'm a proponent of what does your body need? And I have tried everything. And I find this Mediterranean for me with very little to no grains. I eat very similar, but I eat a lot of fish right now. And I'll do beef. I love beef. And fish and beef is like what my body wants right now, and vegetables. And I did have a banana this morning. I had just worked out with some sunflower butter. But what I teach is it's individual to you. But what's important is healing the gut and getting chemicals out. Those two things alone in the first month change women's lives. Their waistline, their anxiety comes down, because I can keep going, but your gut and your brain are one tube. People don't realize when your gut health is out, you can't fix sugar addiction. You can't fix anxiety that's related to addiction. And so I'm about fixing the problem, not band-aiding it. And so that is an intro to the method, and it's extremely effective. It's very simple. It's working with your body and getting you to have control back. A lot of people, they don't feel in control and they're concerned all the time and food obsessed. And I say, well, that's not real freedom. And so I look to get it so that you can eat to live And I always say you pay for food or you pay the doctor. Like that didn't come from me, right? And so we buy the best quality in the house, but it's not that difficult is what I want to say. It takes a commitment. And for me, the women, you follow the method and you get it to work for you. And then you have this freedom we're talking about, this sugar freedom. Again, to have it or not have it. But when women feel so good, they're like me, they're like, I don't even want it. You stop craving it. And it's really a gift. It's a gift.
Yes, yes. Yeah, at this point, I don't crave anything anymore. When I'm going through the grocery store, I notice, there's the ice cream aisle. That ice cream was my big thing. But as far as wanting it, even if it was there, would I really take a bite? I don't, I don't want it. So tell us a little bit about the gut health. That is so important, and I don't hear many people talking about that.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk about two major functions of gut health because people write it off. Women come to us with belly bloat, digestive upset, and we always think, well, we don't actually go there, or I get these sinus infections, or I catch the flu every year. And the other piece related to it is I have this low level anxiety all the time. And I always say, oh, I got you. And they're like, how do you know? I said, well, I know how the gut works. And so the gut does many things, but two of its major things is one, your immune system resides in your gut, 80+%, okay? And serotonin. I come from a family, I did not share it, of mental illness, anxiety, and depression. So I smile a lot these days, but it was really rough growing up with a mom and dad who were not well, okay, on antidepressants, in and out of the local ward at the hospital. Like I've seen a lot. And so no one ever talked about that. It was always up. Frank and Lucy are always on antidepressants, and going to therapy. And I don't knock those things at all. And I'm about getting to the root cause.
Mhm.
So a lot of women that come see us get sick often, and they have low levels of anxiety and sugar cravings. And so when your gut bacteria are out of whack, okay, the bad bacteria, they call it, you're going to crave sugar. Even if you're on these diets where you don't have a lot, I find women will say, the minute I get off that diet I was on, I got to have it. And they're freaked out. Go, let's work on your gut health to give you some control back. And let's get those critters, back in balance. That's number one. Number two, I was saying it earlier, your brain and your gut are one tube. And so when the bacteria are out, your gut microbiome, people talk about that a lot. When that's out of balance, not only are you going to have wicked cravings, but you're going to have anxiety. And so on days where I'm like, oh, I feel a little anxious today, I always go, oh, I talk to my little, they listen, by the way, TMI for some, but bacteria talk to you. I'm like, hey, what's up? Do you need me to get back on my gut protocol? And I will go right back on my leaky gut protocol. That is so effective. And I will find the anxiety will reduce. And why? Because 80% of serotonin, I was saying it earlier, I think it's about 80%. The feel-good hormone is made in the gut. And when your bacteria are not functioning properly, well, it's not going to make it and you're going to feel low. And your immune system, I actually didn't know this for many years. People think the immune system, I don't know where people think the immune system comes from, but I'm going to tell you now, it lives in your gut. And so it's about 80+% as well of your immune system resides in your gut. People get sick a lot. It's a cascade of events. I can almost predict it. Your bowels are off, you bloat, you're not sleeping well, you're eating a lot of sugar, you have anxiety, and you get sick a lot. I say, how do you know all this? I say, I just know how the body works. And so when we fix your gut health and stop your cells from leaking the nutrients out into the bloodstream, we close those gaps. What happens, not only do you absorb more of what you're eating, but you also don't have anxiety and you don't get sick the same. It's a really beautiful thing. And so gut health is the number one thing I start with, along with module 2, taking a look at the quality of the food you're eating and looking at the 100+ names of sugar, which is why I do a diet review for anyone who comes to see me. I'm like, let's go. Let me and my team jumpstart you. And yeah, there's lots of things we do, but those two alone, it is amazing what can heal. Amazing what can heal from those two. It's not as complicated as people think. True story. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's been my experience too. When I started, I was looking for food that had one ingredient because I didn't trust anything else. And sometimes I didn't trust the one ingredient. I got some chicken and I cooked it and took a bite and went, there's chemicals. I taste chemicals, I had to throw it away. I couldn't eat it. And that was the first time I realized that, they're probably cleaning the meat with something or spraying it with something. I mean, because they don't want E. coli and all that. So if you're not getting organic, you're probably getting stuff you don't even know. They won't even
Wait for
tell.
this and wait for this. What are they eating?
Oh
Because
yeah,
what they're eating forms the cells of the animal. So when they
yeah,
say, oh, I'm eating this, I'm like, well, they're probably eating GMO corn. And now you just ate GMO corn
yeah,
through the animal. And so
yes.
people don't realize just because it's not listed, it's very sneaky. It's very sneaky, the stuff out there. And I'm not a cons what is it, conspiracy theorist, although I do believe in some of the stuff out there with, they know the more sugar, more profit, because you're gonna come back more
Right.
than the other stuff. Because why? Let me say it as a sugar addiction expert. Sugar is a socially acceptable, legalized drug in this country, and studies have been done on it. That rats prefer cane sugar over cocaine in studies.
Yeah.
Take that in. The thing is, we have places people go for cocaine issues, but for sugar addiction, you'll be fine tomorrow, Jen. Here's a cookie. You're all right. And I'm like, no, 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 you don't get it. This is real for women. And so I teach that, how to normalize being like me at almost 50 and 3 kids and looking and feeling great. And, God bless, not needing any more surgeries or surgeries at all. And letting the body just function the way it's meant to. And so that's my big thing in this lifetime, and getting into schools. I teach what you said about one ingredient. I have a really good time in schools teaching. I get
Mm.
in there with all my foods and I throw things at the kids for them to read labels, and I educate them on sugar. That 4 grams is 1 teaspoon. I have it over there, but I have all my stuff for schools. I'm teaching again at my kids' school next month, 6th graders. And I just show them, we just show them, and I don't preach, I show. And when they see that much sugar is in a bottle of soda and it's that much,
Mm.
they freak, which is great. And I educate. And so yeah, it's really, really wonderful. I'm very grateful for what I do.
Yes, that is amazing to be in the schools with the kids. That is just absolutely great. That
Mm.
that is one of my regrets is that I raised my kids, making cookies and cakes and stuff like that because my ex loved that stuff. So I made it. He wanted it. And so the kids were raised on it. Now they're adults and I'm looking at them like, oh, I wish I could go back, turn the clock back on some of that stuff because now I realize how much that even though I didn't understand how much was in the diet, there's a lot in the diet. Yeah. And not to mention even the starches, the pasta and the potatoes and the rice that and the grains, I mean the flour and all of that. I mean, it's sugar on sugar on sugar and it just keeps going. Yeah.
On syrups, on sauces, on frosted flakes with some of my clients. I'm like, let's have a conversation. And this V8 splash with another client. And I just started to say, hey, and then your kid's having a monster drink at school. And oh my God, these kids are up to 150 grams of sugar easily. And you wonder where they can't think straight. They're brain fogged, they're exhausted. I mean, I got to see it with
Yeah.
these kids. And I asked them, I was in tears that day, how many of you have belly aches? 6th graders, how many have belly aches? And out of the 6 classes, every class, about half had belly aches. How many eat breakfast? Half don't eat breakfast. I got to see classes after lunch. How many of you ate lunch? Half don't eat lunch. And I thought this is an epidemic we have. And
Mm.
so I sent food home. So my next thing is going to be, I gave them seaweed. How fun. I gave them seaweed and they love that. And I did give them a bar because anything's better than the crap that they're eating. So the other thing that I do teach also is upgrading. So there's no perfect, right? And so if these kids are doing Pop-Tarts and Takis, that's something I never heard of till I got to Arizona.
Yeah.
Like, well, here's a bar with it's got some vegetables in it and a non-GMO. And so like better version. Some kids went for that. And a lot loved my seaweed. I was like, score, and avocado oil, of course. And so it's about upgrading, especially for kids. But we do have sugar in the house. We do. What I've done is they know how much have you had. And what I found is that people who are too strict with kids young and they want to try things, they will rebel. And so
Mhm.
my kids had never had Taco Bell till last year. They're 11, 14, and one will be 16 this year, just to get a reference. And they had never had Dairy Queen. Why would we ever? And last year, they were like, we've never had it. We see it on TV. I'm like, let's go now. I am driving as they're saying it, and we go. And I did a great job because it's like, oh, some like some of it, and like, oh, what's that on my tongue? And so what's great is I allow they never have Taco Bell. I'm like, it's buy everything. That stuff's expensive. When I was young, it was cheap. We bought everything. And oh, what's that sauce? And that's gross. And so what I teach is I'm taking the mystery out of it. And so sometimes they're like, oh, this is delicious. I say, okay, but you got to know what's in it. They go, we know, Mom, but thanks for buying it. And so I do a balance, okay, with kids. I know a little off topic, but not really. I do a balance so that, there isn't that mystery. When there's a mystery for people, it increases the addictive qualities of it. And I'm
Right.
looking to take that psychological piece out of the picture and,
Yes.
and education. And I do both. And it's very effective.
I love that. I love that because when you are used to eating real food and then you get the junk stuff, you're like, huh.
It's awesome. And for those who don't know this, your taste buds change.
Yes.
I have clients that come see me, they're like, oh, I don't really love quite how I'm eating yet. It's okay, but the avocado's this, or I'm used to a lot of sauces and mayos. I'm like, just give me a week, just give me a few weeks. And then they go back to a bar or something they were eating, and they're like, pure chemicals, Jen. So
Yeah.
it's not, I shouldn't have it. I don't want to gain weight. They're like, pure sugar. It's disgusting. And I go, score. And
Yes.
that's when it becomes permanent, right? When you don't want it anymore because you can taste what's going on and it's not masked.
Right.
And so,
Right. Right. That is
well,
such a good point that when we go for the pure and the wholesome, then the other stuff starts to show its ugly colors that we didn't notice before. Yeah. I had packed in one of those gray totes. I had packed a bunch of stuff in there when I first started Carnivore. I had boxes of crackers and flour and I always thought I ate pretty clean. I would never bring a Pop-Tart in the house. That would never happen. But the stuff that I had, I put it in that tote. Well, I was looking for something and I was just said, oh, what's in this tote? And I opened it up and it was that stuff. And as soon as I opened the lid, this smell of chemicals just washed over me. And I was like shocked. This is flour and crackers. I didn't even have any clue of the chemicals smell that was in there. I mean, blew me away.
cool.
Absolutely blew me away.
That's cool. I love that. Yeah, I have very minimal of flour. I have a pizza that we love in the house. It's a Bonza chickpea for me. It's non-addictive. I have it just once a week. It's got veggies and I always eat it with protein. For those, I know this is the Carnivore channel, but for those who do have any at all, you always eat it with protein. You will never see me ever eat anything without protein. Protein first, and that's a piece. But I'm with you. It doesn't work for my body. It just doesn't work. I don't have it as a strict diet. I teach the method, and that is go, it works for you, but I'm not interested. I feel best as most. Some vegetables, protein, good fats. Meh, yeah. I'm addicted to feeling good. So I teach that. Like I naturally feel good. I do like my matcha tea in the morning. It's something I'm doing now. Do it with some coconut milk out of a can. Like I was doing oat for a while, but I could taste the sugar. And I'm addicted to feeling good. I think once people get a taste of feeling good, you naturally don't want that. I teach it. And it psychologically rewires your brain. My dear friend on the Quit Sugar Summit talks about that. You rewire your brain and you actually, you don't crave it the same anymore. It just takes time and commitment and support, right? From us. It takes support from people who are there. And I'm all about community, which is why I'm particular about the community. People will love it. It's a tight-knit community.
Yes.
You don't
Yeah.
feel alone. That's the easiest way to go back, is to feel alone and something's wrong with you. And so I normalize, eating like me and asking questions in a restaurant if I go out at all, and not having wine at a party because I don't want it. Because I'm happy drinking seltzer with lime, and I normalize all that. So if anyone needs to feel normal, hit me up. I'm as weird normal as it gets.
Yeah, that is so great to normalize that. I have run into situations where I'm out with someone, it's time to eat, I'm hungry, they're hungry, and then we always have to have this conversation. Where can you eat? Like it's a big decision. I can eat pretty much anywhere. I
Place
just
where
look
they
at the
serve
menu.
food.
Yeah, there's where there's food, right? Where there's not a drive-through, but a restaurant. Because
I
it is
know.
really that, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Yeah.
I love it. If people aren't educated, they don't mean it. They just always say, "Oh," and I'm gluten free. Not that I eat a lot of gluten free flour. That's also garbage. But I
Yes.
do the chickpea flour if I'm gonna have anything. But yeah, I always just smile and go, "I'm good. Where are we going?"
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other piece of it is I'm not hungry like they are. They're starving, but I am fine. I could go 2 more hours till I get some food. And even then, I'm not starving because my food sticks with me.
Your blood sugar stabilized. That's right. It's an entirely different thing. I always say I'm really, really hungry, and I don't do, yeah, I don't do rice. I don't do any of that either, for the most part, like 95% of the time. But I always say I'll wake up in the morning, gosh, I feel really hungry today, on a day where maybe I had some chips and salsa, and I giggle because I eat like my beef chili. I had that last night with the kids. And I wake up, I'm like, all right, I'm solid. I'm gonna go to the gym, and then there's never an emergency anymore. People
Yeah.
think, oh, I need the bread with my eggs. I love this one because I need to feel full. And I'm like, oh, sister, let me tell you about feeling full. The bread ain't doing it. And it's just a misconception. That's all. And I teach that.
Mhm.
Teach it. So I love it. This is great today.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So my final question is, if someone finds themselves in that gnawing place and they just can't seem to get through the craving, what do you suggest?
You mean like on any given day and they're like
Yeah, like it's two
freaking
o'clock in
out,
the
it takes them
afternoon.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting freaked out because they got this
No,
edginess.
I know. Well, other than following my 5-step method, what people don't realize is really, because I am a person where it would call me from the cabinet and it wouldn't leave me alone until I ate it. So for those who are like addicted the way I was, like the cookies are literally like, Jen, we're gonna bother you. I mean, it was really, you think you're crazy.
Mhm.
Nothing is more powerful than you. It's just a feeling. People don't know that. It's a feeling. It's not bigger than us, but no one ever says that. So we have control over it. Number two, if you eat it, dear God, give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Okay, the beat up is what causes the addiction cycle to continue. Give yourself grace. Grace. Okay. Now, tomorrow is a new day, but it's only a new day if you get help. So I don't want to say that, but give yourself grace. Number three, with all due respect to fruit, I know it's a carbohydrate, but really, an Oreo cookie over an organic banana, eat the banana. Eat the effing cantaloupe. Because my clients go, I don't know, I ate cantaloupe. I go, do you know where you came from? Do you remember the bars and the kind bars and the Starbucks? And now you're freaking about cantaloupe or a banana? Pull it together. At least it's from God's, it's one ingredient. Pull it together. I tend to eat organic apples. It's my go-to. And really, you'll get a similar hit, but different because you're getting the fructose from the fruit, but it's different because it's packed with vitamins and minerals and fiber. And so it's a different hit than a fruit, than cookies and other really very bad crap. And so have that instead, and then get help from one of us. But have that instead and give yourself grace. Dear God, it's an addiction. I don't care. People who have drug issues and alcohol issues, there are places for that.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, come to the Freedom Club, the sugar, like there are places where it's normalized that there's an issue and let's fix it. So you can be like me when I laugh now. I go to a party, I'm like, I really don't want that. And I don't really care. Or I do want it and I can eat a bite. And I'm like, oh my God, why do they serve this? And then I throw it out.
Yeah.
And I'm at choice. I'm always at choice. And that is what people want. And so, is that good?
Awesome. Absolutely fabulous.
Good.
Jen, give us your
Yes.
website and tell us where to get more.
Oh, I love that. Okay, well, I'm Jen. So I do everything that's simple, fun, and easy. The method's that way. God, if anything is hard, please, like, don't go there. And so it's Jen Edden across LinkedIn, Facebook. My website is jenedden.com. You could sign up. I have a training there. You will love it. It actually is free. You get into my community and it will just actually teach you in real life these 5 steps. And then you decide if you want any more. But it's a really wonderful training. And I'm working on a cheat sheet PDF. It's coming this month, February. And so thank you for that. You can find me there. Sign up for my newsletter and I write every day. Just something fun flies out of my mouth to help you.
Okay. Jen, thank you so much. You are a ball of energy. I've really loved having you with us today.
Thank you.
Take care now.